CeeDee Lamb, who has earned his second contract.
Yep.
He's into his fifth-year option. He is not expected to participate in the voluntary workouts, and this is the time of year where you have those people say, oh, it's voluntary. It's voluntary. But everybody who gets it understands. They show up. The players show up. Yes, it's voluntary, but you still show up. Except when you're looking for a new contract that you have earned, that you've yet to receive, because the team is deciding we can squat on this guy for year 5, and then maybe we'll play the franchise tag dance, or maybe we'll sign him to a long-term contract after he does it for one more year. He had the best season of his career in 2023. He's not expected at voluntary workouts, and a potential holdout is looming for CeeDee Lamb once we get into preseason, training camp, etc. And I say good. If Jerry Jones isn't going to crack off some of the money that he used to get John Calipari to go from Kentucky to Arkansas for one of his own guys, stay away until he does. Good for you, CeeDee Lamb. Sometimes you got to take a stand to get what you deserve.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you and we're not going to be mad at that. I mean, yeah, I don't blame him for, well, okay, yeah, I'm one of the top receivers in football, and I deserve to be paid like that. And let's try to make the adjustment and go from there. And like we always talk about, not take the risk of going out there and playing and trying to say, hey, I'll be a good soldier and take one for the team. And then, yeah, you break your leg or your ACL and you don't make nearly the same amount of money, that you would have before the year with a long-term contract. So, yeah, the risk is totally on the player, as you say, all the time, right? Now, where does it go? What does CeeDee want there, right? That's to me the conversation. I have these conversations with friends around football. I mean, they know what's going on. CeeDee Lamb, right? Where does he rank in the hierarchy? To me, that's going to be the thing that you really got to figure out. I'm sure he wants to be paid like the highest receiver in football, right? I don't think the league, I don't think he's viewed as one of the top 2 or 3 receivers in football, as we always say, and I think you could go around the NFL for the most part, like Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and A.J. Brown are in a little bit of a different class than the rest of the wide receivers in the NFL. Then we can get into the Devontae Adams and the Cooper Kupp when he's healthy, and DK Metcalf and what he can do, certainly, and Stephon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb and all of that. But that, to me, is going to be the thing that they got to figure out there in Dallas. See, Dallas likes to put themselves in these problems a little bit, right? We drafted a first-rounder. He's good, right? I don't think he's a superstar, but now here they were last year without other weapons on the team, and they had to ride him so hard that now his stats look like he might be the top receiver in football, which I say he is not. And now they're stuck in the corner here of him asking, I want to be the highest paid receiver in football. And if you ask the fantasy world and people who don't watch film and do stuff like that, they think that's true. And that's where I think we're in a little bit of a bind here between Dallas and CeeDee Lamb as we go forward.
And part of the problem as well is coming up with the right number. We saw the salary cap go up by 13.6%. Can we put that graphic back up? Because this drives me crazy. And we need to get rid of this graphic. Because Tyreek Hill is not making $30 million per year. His contract has a bullshit final year that pays him $45 million that drives the average from 25 to 30. That $45 million is never going to be paid. It's there for one reason only, and that is to build Tyreek Hill's ego even larger than it already is by allowing him to tell the world he's making $30 million per year. He's at 25. And that same thing trickles into some of these other things.
Devontae Adams, I believe, was similar too, wasn't it? Right?
The whole new money, old money. The agents want to push the new money average, and the new money average ignores the fact that there's still years left under the contract, that the new contract, it's an extension. No, they always rip up the old contract and put a new one in place. They call it an extension so they can push this fiction that the guy's making more money than he is. If I get a 3-year extension and I got 2 years left, I got a 5-year contract. And the contract is worth whatever I'm paid over those 5 years, not what I'm going to get over the final 3, because it all gets subsumed into the contract.
Right.
You don't finish your contract. Hey, we've signed you to an extension, so once you finish these 2 years, the new one 6 cents out. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. But with Tyreek Hill especially, and this is kind of glaring, and it crosses the line into insulting the intelligence of the average person.
Yeah.
It's a phony and fake $45 million final year to drive the average to 30 so he can say, I'm making $30 million a year. And, we've had this conversation before. A lot of players only care about the APY, so they, it's a measuring contest. And they're walking around saying, I got the biggest at $30 million per year. It's that simple. And the problem is when CeeDee Lamb's trying to get paid, you've got the agents who throw their arms around the fake numbers.
Yes.
And you got the teams that are looking at the real numbers.
Right.
And so you got to get on the same. You got to speak the same language before you even get a deal done.
Yeah, no, I think that's a big part of the problem, right? And I was, as you were sitting there, I was going, wait, I'm pretty sure Devontae Adams has a similar thing, and he does. When I was looking at his contract as you were speaking there, his last 2 years of his deal are 36 and 36, which again, I don't think he'll ever see. Right, unless I don't know, unless he has some incredible year here, but we'll see. But yeah, it's inflated that way, and it's confusing the situation. So yeah, I think we're on the same page here as far as what's the value of the player, what's the actual average per year leader, and who's making that right now. What are we talking about? Real money, okay, and then trying to balance that out as far as the player. And trying to figure it out from there. And I think that's what they're going to go through. And I don't know. And of course, then, I know we're going to talk about these guys in a minute and go all through this, but CeeDee Lamb, we know these guys, they're competitive. I'm sure he wants to look at Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and their contract and kind of get a feel for what they're going to get, because he doesn't want to be one up, to your point, to such a point where he signs a contract and then 2 weeks later, everybody's like, well, your contract's not that great compared to theirs. So that's an aspect too. But yeah, Dallas, between Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb, they're in a spot right now. They really are.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.